a Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and on the free Odyssey app.
Can you believe what you just saw? Bobby Mack can't.
It is the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot of Packers on this show, a lot of Brewers, but how often are we going to be able to talk about Scotty Scheffler? So I wanted to start it off with that shot on 17. I mean, just insane. Mason Crosby's here as well. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. How we doing, Mace?
You know, when it's just you and I, Tommy, Scotty's going to be talked about. We just, we are fulfilled by Scotty Scheffler, even though he's not fulfilled by just winning every tournament imaginable. But yeah, what a great weekend. I had a busy one, had Nolan's birthday party. I mean, I don't know when it happened that now it's like a birthday weekend, birthday week. Like and we're rolling into Elizabeth's birthday come August 28th. So, I mean, we might as well just kind of keep this thing going, but it was crazy. We had 16 teenage boys spend the night on Saturday night after playing Topgolf. They were playing basketball, doing all the stuff. I mean, at about 4:30 a.m., I went down there, like, they were playing music. I'm like, all right, guys, like, it's time to shut this thing down. Like, and hey, like, I feel like the government, I feel like it's huge oversight.
Yeah.
We set up our Wi-Fi network, though. Like, I have the app where I can literally just shut off Wi-Fi connections. We have it broken out throughout the house, and I just started shutting off Xbox, shutting everything off. And I'm like,
my gosh,
you are done for the night.
That sounds awful. I mean, but Dad of the Year, Mason Crosby. There we go.
I don't know, Mom of the Year. I wasn't happy. Molly, definitely kept her cool a lot better than I did.
Yeah, I would not have been a fan of that. Absolutely not. I would not be going with that. But I'm glad you made it through the weekend. We have a great weekend. We have a great weekend recap here for you guys. Drew Wagner's going to join us at 10 o'clock. We'll talk a lot of Milwaukee Brewers today. Packers pick up a win in NFL Week 2 of preseason. No one cares that it's a win, but we will talk about it because there was definitely some standouts. But obviously what stands out this weekend, the Milwaukee Brewers, they are mortal, Mason. They are mortal.
They are.
We saw them finally yesterday. When this happened, I really thought 15 was coming up after Bill.
Oh, I know.
Fly ball, deep left center field. It is gone! Come on! William Contreras, a two-run bomb. The Brewers have the lead.
I mean, I thought it was there.
Bill.
Come on, Bill. I thought they had it. 14-game winning streak, comes to an end yesterday as the Brewers fall 3-2 over Cincinnati. But we want to ask you, Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250. If you want to join the program, you can text in, call in, comment on the YouTube stream as well. Where do you rank this as far as most impressive streaks, either in sports history, Wisconsin sports history, the Brewers picking up 14 in a row? That was something magical this entire time, Mason.
Yeah, and what did they do it this weekend without Blake Perkins, and Jackson Churio?
And
they
Isaac
were just
Collins.
Without Isaac Collins.
Yep.
Like the Miz, came and pitched an inning in a third.
Game one,
Is that
on
yeah,
Friday.
In game one. It's just kind of like they're not at full strength. Bryce Terang, what did he even? I mean, he pinch hit yesterday. It's just like this. It seemed like yesterday they're like, all right, we want to get 15 wins, but we got the Cubs. Like yesterday was that day where maybe in the back of their minds they're like, we got the Cubs coming up. We got a doubleheader on Monday. We got to kind of lock in a little bit, maybe give some guys a couple breathers, and let's try to steal a win here. But it wasn't the most important game of this series by any means, and they still almost got it done.
No, and honestly, they probably stole 2 games against the Reds.
Fly ball, deep
So much
What else
juice.
is new for the Milwaukee Brewers? Someone new stepping up night in and night out.
Yeah, honestly, and all highlights courtesy FanDuel Sports Network on there. The Monasterio moment, for that to be number 14, and that's going to be the memorable game. Andrew Monasterio wears number 14, right? It
So
was the
perfect.
all of it worked out so perfect that getting to 15 might have seemed almost a little greedy at this point, Mason.
Yeah, it's okay to be greedy, but I think getting to 14, how it was. I mean, they're trying to, they're having to claw back in extra innings and find a way to win these things. So I think it's just one of those where that, the time ran out on this streak. And again, I think we're good, seeing it come to an end. I think it's better to have ended that streak yesterday and then go in to face the Cubs today. And, I sent that text out to y'all yesterday. I'm just like, now it's time to start a new one. They got an opportunity. You kind of lick your wounds. You say, like, all right, man, that was, we almost got that one yesterday. It was close. We battled it out. We found a way to win 2 there in Cincinnati, which those were tough games.
Yeah.
I mean, those were hard-fought games. That Reds team is not they're a really good squad over there. So to get 2 wins and come home, or to go on the road now to Chicago and try to scrape a 5-game series against the Cubs, I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Early, like mid-August. I guess we're mid-August now. This summer's going by so fast. Mid-August, and now they have a 5-game series against the Cubs, and we are here for all of it. I cannot wait to see this doubleheader. I can't wait for you, Tommy, to just be on air all day long. I mean, you are nonstop today, right?
Pretty much nonstop right now, as we're going to have 2 leadoff shows today. The first one's going to begin noon today, ahead of the 121st pitch from Wrigley Field, and then we will have another leadoff show that begins at I believe 6 o'clock today for the 7 o'clock show. But Mason, you were a part of like a lot of great runs, right? You think of Run the Table, you think of Relax. Like, when you look at this streak from Milwaukee, like, what did you see what can that do for a team that really helps propel them into postseason play or later on from those streaks?
I mean, just to know that you can, again, to go into playoffs and go into series, especially in baseball, because you're playing a series of games, you just know you can get hot and that you can sustain that, that ability through the course of a long period of time. In a series in the playoffs, it's a much shorter window,
right?
But it's like, you can run like 3, 4, 5, you can run games together. And I think that just shows that this team has something special. There were teams in the past where it's like, we've always wanted to run into the playoffs really hot. Like, you don't want to limp in. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have it clinched and you lay an egg that last game of the season because you're resting guys and stuff like that, you don't really think about that. But you definitely, the teams that I thought were our best teams when I was there with the Green Bay Packers were the teams that got hot late in the year and made runs right into the playoffs. And we fell short some of those years, but we had great squads, and it was always you were confident until the last whistle, until literally they said you lost that game. You had confidence that you could go out there and try to win a game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what the Brewers really have just showed off, that they are confident. They play 9 innings, right? They don't play 2 innings in that scenario or the first game of this Red series where they were down 8-1, right?
I know. That was ridiculous.
That one was ridiculous. And we got Ram here on the north side joining us on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. Ram, you're on the north side on the Mason Crosby Show. How are we doing this morning, Ram?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. 2 questions. I'm glad Mason brought this up. On that Packer team where you had the winning streak, was it like 12 in a row? 13?
Are you talking about the 2011 team?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we
you
were
on that team, right?
14 in a row.
13 or 14?
13. No, it's 13.
City.
Lost to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. That was an awesome season. I remember that season quite well. Well, could you explain to the fan base, what is the euphoria in the locker room among the players? Is that something you talk about? You just go out there and do? Is it just all cerebral? And then the other thing is, I just don't. It seems like when you got a winning streak going on, you kind of know that it's happening, but it could be. Do you think it can become exhausting? Maybe.
Ooh. That's a good. Yeah, that's a great question, Ram.
All right, Ram. Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, thanks for starting us off on this Monday. You always you give those thought-provoking questions. I appreciate you, Ram.
There he is, Ram. Yeah. So that's a good question, though.
Yeah.
Is there a point, at least during a winning streak, where it becomes exhausting, Mason?
I do think so. Yeah, I think you just again, to answer Ram's first question, you don't talk about it. It's just kind of it's part of a process. It's part of a flow. Like when we lost to Kansas City in that 2011, we knew we were going in there to win that game. I don't think they were great that year. It was one of those where, but then kind of stuff bounces weird. We had some injuries, some stuff that just didn't go our way, and you end up losing a game. And then it was just like, again, it was like, all right, reset. Let's get this thing back on track. So that is what, I think the benefit of a winning streak is that, again, like I said, for the playoffs, you know how to win. You've done it successfully for a long period of time. So when you do have a bump in the road, you lose a game, it's probably much easier to reset and get yourself back on track because you're just like, all right, that was a bump in the road. Let's get back onto the next one. You're a little bummed that it ended, but you hadn't really been thinking about it because it's gone on so long. And then, what was the second part of that question?
Does it get exhausting?
Does it get exhausting? I do think, not that you're almost relieved when it happens because you want to make history. I think whenever you're in it, you're just like, hey, I want to keep this thing going as long as possible because it's almost euphoric. You feel that that energy from winning, from that streak, and then I think whenever it does get snapped, you realize how tiring being on top and winning and doing all those things kind of was, and you almost take that breath and you're like, all right, now I can breathe. Now let's go on to the next one. So yeah, I do think it can get a little tiring over time, just like losing. I think winning and losing, consistently are two things that can just wear you down and wear you out. So I think that's why it's so impressive, honestly, on both sides of those. Whenever you see teams that have won, why is it so hard to go undefeated in the National Football League? I mean, when the Patriots did it and then they lost in the Super Bowl, why do you think the Miami Dolphins celebrate every year their undefeated season? It's because it is so hard to do, especially at that professional level.
It's the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Mason Crosby here with us as well. And it's, you bring up the point, I think that exhaustion definitely weighs in. The Brewers had broken the record already. They got to the 12 games to get the George Webb for everyone. They got to 13 so they could tie the record. They got to 14 so they could break the record. How much more did it need to go on, really, from that point on? They had accomplished everything. And Pat Murphy had a good line in his postgame that, this is this team's, right? This team, You cannot take this away from what the 2025 Brewers did. Now, you don't hang banners or put up pennants for longest win streaks in team history, but I don't think that it's something – maybe that does creep into Pat Murphy's brain or anyone else on the Brewers where you put out a Sunday lineup thinking ahead, right? You thought ahead to that Cubs series, and maybe it took just a little bit of focus away on today's game. And that's been the mantra of this Brewers team the entire time, is how they don't care about what they did. They don't care about what they're going to do. It's that every day they're playing better than you. That's what they wanted to do.
For sure.
They didn't rock with their number one lineup, which is totally okay because there's a massive series coming up, maybe a little bit less juice now in the last couple of weeks because the Brewers decided to not lose since playing the Cubs the last time. But it's got to be worth something to say that, hey, maybe this is something that even they can go back and reflect and look on, that even when we took a half a second off of today's game, it came back to bite us too, Mason.
Yeah, I think that's with the mindset that this Brewers team for sure has, and what Pat Murphy does from the top, and it seems like Yelich, the leaders on this team, are just one game at a time. It doesn't matter. We're going to put our best stuff out there, and we're going to go. I think you hit it right on the nose, and that's what I said at the beginning is this game, first time in a long time this season, they were missing Collins. They were missing, they're missing their two starting center fielders. They're missing a lot of pieces. Terrain wasn't just, go. Like, they didn't bring out their best stuff, in the pitching, in their bullpen. So it's just kind of one of those where for the first time this season, they maybe were looking ahead, which you don't blame them. Like, it's like, why not? Like, why not look at this Chicago Cubs? I mean, you have an 8-game lead.
Yeah.
This series means so much more than winning that game against the Reds. And I look at, so I was, Ram, you'll like this because I think he always appreciates some of my like personal stories. But I was looking back too because personally I had some streaks of my own, like on consecutive field goals made. And I will talk specifically on those things where, you're in a rhythm. You're not thinking about how many you've had in a row. You're just one at a time. But I think I will say on that front too, after you miss, after you lose, all of that. And I'm not saying it's easy to get back on that horse and get another streak going, but you have to be intentional about it. Right. Because I knew every time after, it's like, oh man, I made, 27 field goals in a row at one point in the regular season. And I missed a 30-yarder or like a 20. I mean, it was a short kick. Mm-hmm. I had no business missing the kick. Could have kept that thing going. And then it was like, all right, I could dwell on that. So this will kind of show what kind of team this is too. Like, these are those defining moments where it's like, do you dwell on, all right, we had this streak, we were hot, we lost. Don't let that become the next habit, right? Don't let that become the next thing that you hang your hat on is now we can't get back into that win column. We can't get back into that make column. You just go on to the next one. And I do think if any team can do it, this Brewers team is built for that.
Yeah,
and they're built to go on to the next one.
I completely agree. And maybe the youth and inexperience that kind of weighs in and helps them in that, where they didn't really have a season like this where they could process something that happened this amazing or this catastrophic. But how does that streak compare to your makes, Mason, compare to like the games played, right, where you're just not missing a game? Because that's just a different mindset of, I'm going to work, right?
Yeah.
But it became such a big deal because it was so many games, right?
Yeah.
And Brett Favre was the same way, where he's just playing so many games. He's not going to miss a game, whether or not the performance is adequate or not. But, that still takes a lot, especially in the NFL, where it's such a physically demanding league, and you take a beating throughout the season. Where does that one rank for you?
The most consecutive games played is definitely my shining achievement. That is the thing I hang my hat on and will say that at the end of the day is something I'm most proud about. It's funny that Aaron brought up, he said, Joe Biden, where he's just kind of wandering around. But have you ever seen that show New Girl?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it's just Joe Biden them. And that's another reference where it's just, you just show up. You're just everywhere. It's like he's just there. And it's like, they're at a wedding, I think. And Jess is she just keeps standing next to the guy. She's just always there. Like that was who I was. I'm like, I'm just going to be here every day. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my work. There were times, there was one season, I literally had a pulled left calf. My hip flexor was all messed up, all of that. We played a Sunday and a Thursday game, and I'm like, all right, this is it. It's over. And somehow, by the trainers, the amazing medical staff, everybody leaned in really heavy into that stuff, and I was able to continue to keep playing. And that was just something I took a lot of pride in. And if anything, I can look back on my career was that I just showed up and I put myself out there even whenever I was hurting. And it probably would have been to my benefit to maybe take some time off, but I wanted to be there for my teammates.
When you look back when times aren't going as well, do you try to lock into those into that mindset as a team? Whether it is the Brewers now, if things do go rough, they probably will have a streak where they lose 4 games, 5 games in a row at some point this season. That's
maybe
just baseball, right? But do you, when you look back at when things go wrong, when you were playing, do you try to channel those moments when things are going right in those big streaks as a team?
Yeah, I think you always just have to kind of jog your memory and go back into those moments. But I've said that before too. You can't rest in those moments. You can't look and say I want to recreate That's where this Brewers team, they can't recreate that streak.
Yeah.
Like, there's never going to be anything like that 14-game winning streak. Like, it's never happened in their history. Like, they can't recreate that. They'll never run through that exact, those exact teams. They won't get those same hits. It won't look the same ever. So you just have to literally, like, change your mindset and start fresh. You draw from past experiences, good and bad, and then you move on to the next. And the beauty of baseball is they have 2 today.
Yeah.
So it's like they go right back into the fire. They're right back at it. They don't even have really a lot of time to think about it. That game yesterday, is 100 years ago. It's just like it's time to go to the next one. You move on to that, and you just lock in for that next moment. You're not going to try to recreate this streak. It may never happen again, but the beauty is you get to play another game, and they're going to go play a really good Cubs team twice today, and they got to go get it done.
Brewers Cubs today, first pitch 1:20 in game 1. It'll be Freddie Peralta going up against Cade Horton of Chicago. Still waiting to hear any probables for the 7 o'clock game tonight. Game 2 against Chicago. Should be an awesome game to follow. We'll talk some more about it with Drew Wagner coming up at 10 o'clock. But, Mason, we got to get to some football because football is so close to being all the way back. Football is right next door. It is ready to take over, and everyone loves more football talk here on The Fan.
I mean, and the Bears are just really good, too. So we gotta talk about their preseason performance and what we should be worried about as Packers fans.
It's the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers and Green Bay Tractors as well.
Yeah, the Green Bay Tractor Supply Company.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to them.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's a thing. But
I don't think it is. But I just see a bunch of John Deeres in the Kenny Chesney video of "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy." So, you own a tractor when you were back in Texas?
We had a tractor at the ranch, for sure. Love to do that. I'd leveled out some roads at times.
Wow.
Moved some dirt. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, and meanwhile, Nolan's just having sleepovers with 15, 16 other friends. Right.
Kids don't know how to work these days.
Get on a tractor, Nolan.
Get on a tractor, man.
Mason Crosby, Tommy Wortz here on the Mason Crosby Show, and the Green Bay Packers playing this weekend, Mason, and honestly, the first half, they had us in the first half. They had me again where it was like, okay, I'm gonna find a way to complain about this on Monday and be mad the entire time, even though it's a preseason game that really doesn't matter. And now instead they came back, they win in the second half, and there was actually some positives to talk about this week, Mason, compared to the week before.
Yeah, there are, and we'll talk about those, and then obviously have to talk about some of the injury, implications as well. Some of those things that were a little scary, that happened there with Marshawn Lloyd, Omar Brown, had to stay back with a chest injury, which is always worrisome. But like after the game, LaFleur, I mean, he spoke about Jordan Morgan, right? Like that he is competing for that left tackle spot. So that's I think that's news in itself that he even he put that out there in the world that they want him to be the guy there if he's able to continue to play the way that he seemed to play against the Colts. Like I think he had a much better night, looked really really solid. I mean, if anything we can learn from this game, I mean, they can come back in a preseason game. So that's good. That's good. The Packers are the preseason comeback kings.
Yeah, and it was led based on from this play from quarterback 3, Sean Clifford.
Dual threat.
Yeah, now just wait for the Sean Clifford, Malik Willis,
What
Love.
poll am I putting out there? Yeah,
they're all the people saying Sean Clifford should start games.
Wait, let's maybe I don't say Sean Clifford. We can't say Sean Clifford's a dual threat. He went 1 for 4 for 11 yards. So maybe just a short yardage running threat in that situation. Just in that one situation.
Yeah, I got it. He's basically just Lamar Jackson. He can do that. That's what we'll say.
Taylor Elgersma.
Yeah, he looks pretty
7'11",
good.
109.
He
not
came
a bad
in.
day.
He had a good day. I thought there was some positives to look at with Jordan Morgan, like you said. Jordan Morgan on 61 snaps of preseason so far. He has 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 hurries, 0 penalties as well against him right now. Mace, that's probably about as good as you can be as an offensive lineman.
That's good, yeah. How many – did he play the first half or did he just play when Malik was in there?
He was playing when Malik Willis was in there most of the time. I think he came out, maybe got a quarter and change, a few series out there. 61 snaps is total this preseason, so he didn't play that against Indianapolis.
That's not bad, though. I mean, that's enough, I think, because that's about what, three quarters of a game, that he's gotten in at this point. So
25 snaps against Indianapolis is
that's a good number. I think that's wise. I'm looking at like the receivers. Like, who are some of these guys? Did you look who caught the ball on in that game? I mean, Mecole Hardman. He seemed to bounce back a little bit. Had 2 for 27.
I am all in. I am going to be the Julian Hicks guy at the Fan now.
Julian Hicks, he's your guy.
Julian Hicks. He had the catch that didn't count, that down the field. I think it was Elgersma that dotted them up. But he had one where, I mean, the penalties were a problem in the first half. That was just ridiculous. And Anthony Belton, another guy who we've talked about on this show, and I don't know how much he's going to get a role with Green Bay next season, but there are two things can be true. He will block his ass off every time he goes out there.
Yeah.
But he also needs to keep his head a little under control in a preseason game, man. And preseason, nonetheless.
Hey, sometimes you lose your mind. You got to bring that juice. And then, it just happens out there. But, yeah, I'm just looking at who caught passes, who ran the ball. And then, we got to talk about, the Marshawn Lloyd stuff, you know, the concern there. I mean, everybody wants him to be, that backup and be that guy, but he just does not seem to be it. And it just seems like, is it the Chris Brooks backup show? I mean, Chris Brooks just seems to be always available and consistent. Like, he's going to probably be the backup running back for this team.
Yeah, and we talked about it with Andy Herman.
Or Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson's had a fine camp as well.
He was great last year, too. He was great last year as the number 2 running back behind Jacobs. But we talked about it with Andy earlier on Pack-A-Day Radio, and right now Marshawn Lloyd gives you very little faith that he can stay healthy at this point, whether or not he is, quote, injury prone or not. At least it feels like now Green Bay has a decision to make on whether or not they want to carry 3 or 4 running backs on this team. And how can you trust Marshawn Lloyd to be in a 3 running back system when you've seen now over the last 2 years, anytime anything positive happens, he ends up getting sidelined due to injury.
Well, I think he's going to be on the IR to start the season, would be my guess. Is you just put him on IR, you keep Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks as your primary backups to Josh Jacobs, and then you just see where you're at, 4 weeks down the line, whatever that that number is, to when you can start bringing those guys off of that injured reserve list, because they have changed those rules, right? Whereas that was like. Yeah, it was crazy that used to be like a season-long deal, right? Like it was only maybe 8 years ago that they put in place that you could come back during the season if you started the season on IR, which is always that always blew my mind. I'm like, you have a hamstring injury, you have something, you got to make a decision. You either carry that guy or you just end their season for him. So I'm glad that they have some of those rules in place where you can protect a player, keep them on your team, put them on IR, and then you have the opportunity to bring them back at a more reasonable time than you did in the past.
It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, talking about Packers preseason week 2 over the Indianapolis Colts. And Rob Domofsky putting up an article yesterday talking about the injury situation, as we heard with Marshawn Lloyd. He's going to miss some time, quote from Matt LaFleur. Now everyone really concerned about maybe missing time past week 1 as well with this hamstring issue. Mason talking about maybe giving him a shot on the IR so he can come back later on. Omar Brown, I don't know if we have it the latest yet, but supposedly was going to be hopeful to be released today.
Yeah.
And then Baron Sorrell, the other big name
That's
that got banged up too on special teams yesterday too. Mason, can I ask you? I don't think we've ever really talked about it in full force too. I don't think it was on punt, I believe, with Baron Sorrell, but I cannot stand new kickoff last year stunk. All right, I'm just gonna say that new kickoff last year stunk. New kickoff even worse, even worse. New kickoff. I don't understand why you have the extra man back there with you. Like, it should just be one guy or something along the way. And now you have to strategically kick it inside. Like, this is not preventing injuries, it feels like at this point, because you are allowing the play to happen. If you would just said touchbacks, there would be more touchbacks. Seriously. And the play would be eliminated, Mason.
Yeah. Just, I think you should either you move the ball up to, where you kick from the 50 or something like that, and you're, just pooching it down there, or you're hitting touchbacks. If you kick it through the uprights, let's just make it really goofy. If you kick it through the uprights, you get the ball at the 20-yard line instead of the, 30-yard line, or just give them the ball at the 30-yard line. Just start the offense on the 30. Because yes, now you're gonna see more injuries. Guys are gonna be they don't have to run as much. I know the idea is it's not necessarily always just preventing, hammies or like injuries, to soft tissue stuff. The main stuff with the kickoff was the head injuries.
Right.
It was the head and neck and some of those violent, impacts that happen. Whenever you look back, my first few years in the NFL, oh my gosh, like how many guys we lost in the wedge. I mean, we had Palmer, offensive tackle, breaks his neck, because you literally would get 4 offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen, and they'd look, as soon as he caught the ball, they were shoulder to shoulder just going. And literally the kickoff team, you were trained where you had 4 guys, and it was like, you fit in this gap, you fit in this gap, and like they just had to missile into those spots and just take it up, and then everybody else played football off of it. Like it was just a long-running offensive play with guys that weren't built to do that. Like you have a 220-pound guy running into 320-pound offensive linemen. Like that is not a good recipe for anybody. It's so I do like I like the aspect that they're at least looking at player safety, but yeah, the kick, it looks weird. It feels weird. Like I don't know what the future of that kickoff play is going to be, but I know they're going to keep tweaking it because I don't think anybody likes it
until
right
they
now.
get rid of it. Let's just be real. Until they get rid of it.
Just do onside, surprise onsides the whole time.
Yeah, no, it's until they get rid of it. They're going to eliminate the play altogether. It's not going to matter. They're going to just let the team get the ball at the 30-yard line, and then if you want to get an onside kick situation, it's going to be the 4th and 20 from your own 25 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
that was Mark Murphy actually had that idea from the get-go. Or he talked about even just lining up and doing like a traditional like a spread punt play. But I mean that's basically what they're doing now. Right? It's basically spread punt down the field, and they're just trying to get those impacts down. But it doesn't feel like real football anymore. No. So you'd almost rather change it. Like just again, line us up so the offense always has a chance to get the ball back. Do an onside kick at the 40, the opponent's 40-yard line. So if they recover it, they get the ball at the 25, 30-yard line. If not, but you can't kick that onside pass like 15 yards or something like that. And then you just have an opportunity to gain possessions the whole game. That could be interesting.
Yeah, we wait for Dan Campbell to just start going for it every single time.
Seriously,
never
so
gonna
many
have
different rules.
Well, there'll be a game where the Jaguars don't touch the ball the entire game because of this situation.
Exactly.
31 players, I believe, did not play in the game from Green Bay's team. So, that's
a lot.
Quay Walker, Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, all didn't play right there. That's just the offensive side. Zach Tom didn't play. We didn't see any action from Javon Bullard, Nate Hobbs. These are all guys either nursing an injury or rest was technically some of the time. Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, Rasheed Walker, Romeo Doubs. We didn't see any Van Ness. We didn't see any Luke Musgrave after their hype they've been getting in some of the Packers preseason early action right now. So I don't know how much you can really weigh into the performance. But it is nice to see, at least, because the first, first 6 quarters of Packers football that we saw was very sloppy. It was very sloppy, undisciplined throughout that time. And then to have that second half where they can at least put some things together, for sure. It's the backups going up against the backups. How much can you weigh in on it? But the Packers, they gave you nothing to talk about in the first 6 quarters of NFL preseason football, and at least some optimism to talk about, the backups and what, 53-man roster configuration can look like down the stretch here. And Green Bay also now waiting to hear. I'm checking in on Andy Herman's Twitter to see if we get any updates, because I think practice closed to the public but open to the media today. Matt LaFleur did say that maybe as soon as today, Jordan Love could be returning to practice. Yeah.
And I think that's good. If he gets out there a little bit this week, I think that eases everyone's mind, right? That this was just, like a minor procedure. Hopefully will help him out just to have some more, just whatever discomfort he was dealing with. He might have to have that brace on for the remainder of camp, even maybe into, the first couple weeks of the season. But you can play ball with that, right? Like they'll make it work. He'll figure it out. He's a professional athlete, and and a really good one at that. So I think it would be a positive if he gets on the field some this week, just to kind of not to ease his mind, to ease the mind of the team, and to kind of help the fan base take a deep breath, right? Just like, all right, we're going to be all right. Everything's good. One other guy before we go to break here is, Isaiah Simmons did play in that game, and I think he showed like the type of player he can be, right? Like, I mean, he had 9 tackles, 5 solo, seemed to have a solid week there in Indianapolis as well, right? With a pick in practice, just kind of looked good. Another guy we got to talk about, and he's kind of, top of the thing, is Bo Melton.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Melton looks like he's going to make this team. I mean, the guy does it all. He keeps showing up, all over the film. Again, another great special teams player, is probably going to be that, third or fourth corner on this team.
29 snaps during preseason week 2. 2 receptions, 4 targets for 17 yards, had a pass breakup, had 3 tackles, highest coverage grade on defense of anyone for
seriously.
Green Bay, 73.7 grade, a 61.5 passer rating allowed. I don't know how
you
much
can't
we
let
see
someone
him.
like that go.
Yeah, I don't know how much we see him, but he's probably going to be a top 4 corner on this team.
That's what I think.
Rate.
I mean, I think he's top 4 right now.
Yeah.
Like, you can't let someone with the upside and seeing what he's doing in this transition, you just can't let someone like that go, because you don't know what you're going to get, but you're seeing some real good positive productivity out of a young player that has switched positions. It reminds me of Sam Shields. It reminds me of like that. Like, Sam was lightning fast. Like, he might have had some tangible things that Bo doesn't, but Bo is fast and he plays hard. He's physical. And he looks very confident and comfortable out there. And again, you just can't get enough players like that on your team. So his upside will keep him on this team, in my opinion. You never know what they're going to do up there, but in my opinion, I feel like it'd be a miss to not keep a guy like Bo Melton on this team for at least one more year and see if he can turn into something really special.
Football Talk on the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days unless it's Bo Melton or Paramount Plus. You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Well, we also still, no matter how positive or how great the defense can look at any time, it always seems like it can get better for Green Bay. And there's got to be some options out there that might make it better. And maybe rumors are starting to swirl a little more. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how they go, because I'm still not totally sold that this could happen. But it's now seeming like maybe there's a little more realistic chance that the Packers could be involved in some trade talks to try to bolster up this defense. Mace, should we talk about it?
Let's talk about it. Yeah, Parsons, Hendrickson, who would you rather have on this squad, and what would you give up for those guys? So let's talk about that in the next segment. And is it like a Brewers type of thing? Like, would they help? Or is this like, all right, just leave it alone. Let Van Ness try to do his thing this year. But, we also, right now, like, we haven't heard a lot about Rashawn Gary in camp.
Wow.
Like, how's he feeling?
It's my surprise
how's
face.
he doing?
It's my surprise face.
So,
let's
dive into this rumor mill. It sounds, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to believe on the internet, but it sounds like the Packers have potentially put something like, out there
potentially
that they'd be interested in a trade for Parsons. Like, I don't know who to believe anymore, but let's at least have a discussion around it.
It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
with it.
It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Little Luke Combs to bring it in here. Country Monday, never dead, Mason.
Never dead. No, yeah, you got to keep it alive and well. It is Monday. You know what? It's nice because it doesn't really feel like a Monday. You know, I'm kind of ready. I'm ready for this week. I'm ready to attack this week. You know, I think the Packers winning, always helps that, even if it is preseason. Scotty Scheffler winning always helps that. I mean, the guy's a machine. We hit on it just a little bit, and we'll probably, just have to reference him every couple minutes.
Yeah.
I love that. And I sent you that tweet from Phil, like it was like, this didn't age well. Phil Mickelson saying, I'm not sure after the Ryder Cup, wasn't it? Like that Scotty might not ever win or might not win a tournament.
It was in 2025. Will Scotty Scheffler win anything?
Win a tournament before the Ryder Cup.
Before the Ryder Cup. And he then says, I'm going to say no. Like,
I'm going to say no.
Flat out just admits that, no, I don't think he does. Well,
ridiculous.
You're a clown, Phil Mickelson. Like, just put it out there. You totally messed up. Maybe one of the worst takes of all time. Because the greatest golfer on the planet is Scotty Scheffler. And you doubted him for a little bit. You were doubting him in the beginning. I said,
when did I doubt him?
Well, you were like, the other guy's really just floundering. It's not really Scotty driving at this point.
He wasn't at that point. At that point, Scotty was just kind of plodding along.
It was long.
He's even part of the other guy's tanking, which that's what Scotty does now. He literally is having this like Tiger Woods effect on the PGA Tour, where it's just like when he is in contention, when he's on that course, and he's right there in the hunt, like it tightens everyone else up because Scotty's going to do his thing and he's going to chase you down. If you make a mistake, if he's not in the lead, he'll hold the lead if he's in the lead. If he's not in the lead, he will hunt you down and he will take everything that you find precious. And McIntyre said he wanted to break all of his clubs and throw them in the lake. And I think Scotty just did that to him. He just broke his brain, and he probably did it in the nicest way possible. He was just, he was probably putting his arm around McIntyre the whole time, just like, man, I love you. Like, let's do this together. Let's the power of friendship will get us through this. Because I think Scotty's a Brewers fan too. I mean, we'll just say
there's a lot of similarities on like unfulfilled versus undaunted,
just day to day.
Fifth PGA Tour win now has $24 million in official earnings this year. A year ago, with 7 victories, he made the tour record of $29.2 million.
Guy's good at golf.
Yeah, he's just good at golf. That's all it is. And now, like, we'll talk a little bit more about Scotty, I'm sure, at 10:20 today in our weekend recap. But a couple of rumors now. Diana Rossini reporting that it is pretty hot and heavy right now in the Cincinnati front office on attempting to make a trade happen for Trey Hendrickson. We have heard that Micah Parsons, maybe not totally available, but has at least requested a trade from Dallas. And that brings up the question, Nicolay Law fan talking text line 414-677-1250 if you want to join the show. Who do you think is a better fit for the Green Bay Packers? Maybe weigh in how big the deal would have to be for both of these guys to get it done. Who do you think fits better for the Green Bay Packers? Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson or Micah Parsons from Dallas? Mason, open it up to you first, I guess. Feels like there is a long-term answer and maybe a short-term answer on this one.
I know. And obviously, I think Micah Parsons, if he is available, like let's just – in this hypothetical world that we want to live in this fantasy world we want to live in, let's just say they're both up for trade. Both teams are taking calls and looking to trade these players. I'm going all in on Micah Parsons over Trey Hendrickson all day, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, just age, like product, just who that guy is and what he's going to do for that defense it's going to elevate it to a spot that you just know right away it's going to be different. Trey Hendrickson, really great, similar type of player, but he kind of size wise, like I do believe how they view like a Lucas Van Ness there in Green Bay is that he can get to that Trey Hendrickson type of play. is like the hope for him, I believe. They're similar body types, like, just kind of how they, how they seem to attack, their rush and all of those things. Whenever I look at Van Ness, I'm like, okay, they're probably a similar type of guy. But now it goes to the point of like, what do you give up? Because like if you're going to get Micah Parsons, and I was looking at this because I was running it down because everyone is like, oh, if you go get Micah and you want to give a player in return plus draft picks, you send Van Ness down there. But and then so I started looking at numbers, and I was like, do you send Rashawn Gary if you think that Van Ness is kind of the future and you want to bring in Micah? But I think Rashawn's dead cap might just be too heavy to do anything like that. And that's probably the difference why you could send a Van Ness versus Rashawn Gary unless you could cover it. But you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons.
Doesn't Green Bay still have like a $35 million cap? Like they still have like $30 million attributed towards their cap space that they could spend if they want to now.
Yeah, they are poised to do something like this if they want to do it, right? Like they just would have to be willing to give up draft picks and then go and pay top dollar to either one of these guys. And I think that's going to be that's again the mindset is like, who would you pay the top of the market to, Micah Parsons or Trey Hendrickson? And I think you're going to pay Micah Parsons the top dollar, contract, right?
Yeah, and even Hendrickson, though, I mean, it feels like you can get a sizable deal that's short term, right? I mean, you can give him the 2-year 60 or something along those lines, whatever it may be. You have to get closer to 70 if you wanted to get a deal done like that for Hendrickson. But, I mean, both these guys are available. Parsons last year, he played 13 games instead of the 17, but before that, he hadn't missed a game. Trey Hendrickson, hasn't missed a game since 2022, and he played 15 games in 22, 16 games in 21. Like, another guy who's been healthy, been reliable.
The availability.
And availability, yes, for both of these guys. Hendrickson, obviously older. He is pushing, I believe, 30. He is 30 at this point. He'll be
Still
31
fine.
in December. And Micah Parsons, like, if you can get a long-term deal locked up for him, like, that would be massive. It'd be a huge move for Green Bay. I just think that the availability for Hendrickson is there, and now it decides you got no problem giving up 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, right? I mean, that's where it's going to start at. Is a first-round pick completely off the table with Trey Hendrickson?
I don't think so. I think you're going to have to offer that. I don't think the Bengals move unless you are a first-round pick and maybe like even a third or better, or fourth or better pick in a following year. Like, I think there's going to be multiple picks there. It's just like, why would you move on from that if you don't get something along those lines? And again, time, they're not going to take a deal right now. Like, they're going to be willing to wait because, again, how these contracts work is regardless if they move on and trade these players, like, they still have to carry a cap hit for them.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it's like they are still paying for that player to be on someone else's roster. So you have to get maximum amount of return in order to do that. I'm looking at, this is just hypothetical, and I'm looking at like Rashawn Gary's contract, and I mean, on Spot Track, like they said, a potential out is after the 2024 season. I mean, he would carry $25 million of dead cap, which is a lot. I don't know if there's ways to like prorate that out. If you do a trade, if you could like structure something. They can always
make the money happen in the NFL, it feels like.
And then, but the Packers, why they're in such again, they would give whoever they brought in a huge signing bonus, 5-year deal, whatever, push a lot of that money down the road to make something like this work, where a new guy coming in, their cap hit this year might be $10 million, something like that. And you would be able to, just kind of prepare for the future years and push some salary out down the line. So, I find that interesting. But that was kind of my thought, because I'm just like, all right, premier, in your mind, like you paid Rashawn Gary to be the premier pass rusher for this Packers team. You bring in a Trey Hendrickson or a Micah Parsons, like who's who's the man now, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have that question, and you don't want animosity. You don't want issues.
It's
on
not
that
a question.
Front.
I mean, should not be a question at all. You can.
One of those guys will be your premier guy.
Yes.
So can Rashawn Gary, fit into that? And that's why I'm saying maybe Rashawn Gary is the trade, is the trade bait for one of these teams.
Send it over tomorrow. Send it over tomorrow. I'm all down, all good for that. And Lucas Van Ness doesn't really excite me, but really, just if Rashawn Gary has to go in this and is a casualty, that's all right. Fine, sounds good. Want to remind everyone, the Packers get a win over the Colts in preseason game number 2. Packers beat writer Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette will join Sparky this afternoon at 3:20 to give us the latest from practice on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Got to get over to Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports, gets him back in action on the Brewers. Cubs series coming up, 5 games over the next 4 days. Should be a lot of juice going on. It should be a very fun next 4 days from Wrigley Field. Live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
Drew. Let's go inside the clubhouse with Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Brought to you by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Inside the clubhouse is brought to you by Focus Baseball, because fundamental development starts with focus. Find them at focusbaseball.com.
Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Packers all-time leading scorer still here. Mason, you still here?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm ready to
All
roll.
right.
And you can see us on YouTube. I'm even wearing my my Green Bay Packers shirt.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
So.
I'm all over the place. We have
all over.
no Brewer representation at all with a Bucks shirt, Tigers hat right now.
They have to earn it back.
Not a Tigers fan, just a Magnum PI fan. That's it. Nothing else.
That's right.
Joining the show now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law Offices, it is Drew Wagner from Forbes Sports. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, boys.
How are we doing? How was the drive down, Drew?
Chicago is just... Why does it exist?
Well, hey, if you didn't see, though, I mean, the Bears are going to be really good. You know, they played a great preseason game, so now it's they're all over. I'm reading right now, what should Caleb Williams' ceiling be with Ben Johnson? Because they played the Bills team that didn't start any of their players, and they just went out there and dominated. So do you think the Bears are going to win the NFC North now? Is that your prediction?
I'm a Bears fan twice a year. You want to guess, Mason, what those
get out of here.
are?
Get out of here.
I know.
Why do we even let you on the show? Are you going to have to do both leadoff shows with Tommy today? So do you get to just talk to Tommy all day today?
It's going to be Wagner and Tommy all day long.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you wouldn't want it any other way, right, Drew? I mean, Drew Wagner joining us here from Forbes Sports. Drew, heading down to Chicago now, 4 days, 5 games in that stretch now. Drew, I'd like to just talk about the game today, or games today, real quick first. We know Freddie Peralta's set to start in game number 1 today. We still have no probables listed for either of the teams heading into tonight's game. Do you have any inside information in where we might be going in that direction, Drew?
We do not. We have no announcement yet. If I were a betting man and gambling is illegal at Bushwood, I would say it's going to be Chad Patrick.
Okay. Chad Patrick looking to be the guy in game
Bring
number
him back
2.
into the fold.
Do you think Brewers fan, like for a guy like Patrick, like just getting back into it after really this team is almost completely different since he's come back? Do you think the guys are going to be pumped up to see him again, or do you think it's going to be hard to acclimate again for Chad Patrick after being away for some time now? Because so much has changed, it feels like, for the Brewers since we last saw him.
Sorry, I got distracted by the world's cutest pitbull. But yeah, I think it'll be fine for Chad Patrick. I mean, listen, these guys have a job to do. He knows all the guys in the clubhouse. They all know what he can do. It's not like he has to prove himself or introduce himself to anybody. It's not all that different. I mean, if you think about it, the core, it's pretty much the same core. The pitching staff has changed a little bit since Chad Patrick came up, but he's been around all those guys.
Well, let's rewind just a little bit, Drew, since we talked to you last. Obviously, we had the Cincinnati Reds series over the weekend. That 14-game win streak came to an end yesterday. Talk about what that series was. I mean, obviously, Friday, the 8-1, the comeback to win that game, the home run on Saturday, and then, losing a bit of a heartbreaker when you had the lead in the 9th after Bill Contreras' home run. Just talk about what that means for this team and, kind of how you feel about that series over the weekend.
I mean, they got lucky. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. And they came from behind. They wiped out their huge deficit Friday night. I mean, they played good baseball against.
Yeah, they could have easily gotten swept this weekend, right?
Things are breaking in their favor, and sometimes that's how it goes during winning streaks. Was it perfect? Far from it, but you walk out of there with a series victory. You keep growing your lead. I mean, it wasn't as good as you can expect.
I mean, you got guys falling down in left field. Who was that? The Reds.
Fraley, yeah.
Fraley. I mean, he literally just
DFA'd.
Yes, yeah, got cut right after that.
It's
Drew.
crazy. I know, like that kind of stuff is wild, and that's happening with this Brewers team. But it's, again, you kind of create your own luck. You hit enough, get enough balls in play. They're stressing because you're going to run the bases effectively, and so teams are trying to rush and hurry and like get to those grounders, in different ways than they probably would against other teams because they just don't want this Brewers team to get hot and get extra bases. So that kind of stuff just keeps happening for this Brewers team. Now, after losing the game and breaking the streak, what do you look for? I mean, like obviously, I'm sure Pat Murphy, they're in that clubhouse, they're getting ready to roll, and it's just like, all right, on to the next. Let's learn from that and let's go play against this Cubs team. And we got 2 against them today. So, what do you expect from this Brewers team in this series against the Cubs?
I mean, I don't expect anything that we haven't seen the last couple of weeks. I mean, they're not going to change their approach. But listen, the pressure in this series is kind of off the Brewers at this point. When it was first on the schedule, the doubleheader, everyone's looking at this as the Brewers' chance to gain some ground.
To get back,
now,
yeah.
Now it's kind of like the Cubs' last stand. They have to – all the pressure is on them this week. The Brewers can pretty much ice it, lock it up with a series victory, but pressure's on the Cubs.
We got Drew Wagner, our Forbes Sports, inside the clubhouse for our Milwaukee Brewers. He's in Chicago. He's cruising around trying to strike fear into all those Cubs and Bears fans down there. And but something we talked about earlier on the show is it felt like yesterday, maybe for the first time in a while, maybe they put a lineup, they put some things out there and maybe gave some guys a couple breathers heading into this Cubs series where it's like, yeah, if we can steal and win this, and sweep the Reds with this group, that would be awesome, but we're not too concerned about it. We got to prepare for the Cubs. Do you feel like maybe that happened for the first time yesterday where it just wasn't the, the lineup that we all kind of expected heading into this Cubs series?
I mean, kind of. I don't think they were letting off the gas by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think they were just, going through it. It's just, you're going to have days where you have to sit guys, especially with the stretch that's coming up. I wouldn't read too much into that. And I don't think their approach changes going into this. I think it's just go out and win series. That's it. Win the day and win the series. And then everything after that is gravy.
I saw Blake Perkins is off the bereavement list, but is Isaac Collins expected? Is he back as well? I didn't see that that news. Is he off of the paternity list?
Yeah, he's on the paternity list. Not sure if he's back yet. We're expecting him back today, but we haven't been in the clubhouse yet, so I'm sure that'll be announced probably within the next hour.
Okay, nice. So we just got something on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line that someone's saying there might be a rain out for the second game today. Do you think how's the weather looking there in Chicago? Is it a nice day, or is there a chance something might happen later on today?
It's going to be hot and humid and gross, and there are storms in the forecast for this afternoon and evening, so it's anybody's guess. The way that these guys handle weather-related scheduling, you never know what's going to happen, but the forecast does not look great for later today.
Drew Wagner joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show, Forbes Sports. Follow him on Twitter @by Andrew Wagner. Drew, I don't know, I can't remember now. I think the Brewers have had at least one doubleheader already this year. I remember that. But what's the mindset and what's the change in the clubhouse when you really can't even necessarily think past today at all during this day, because you have a game early at 1 o'clock today from Wrigley, 1:20 first pitch, and then you have to immediately throw everything away coming back at 7 o'clock tonight. How have you seen the Brewers react in these doubleheader games, and how do you think they will act after coming off the big streak against 14 straight wins, and now it's a division rival you got to play twice in one day?
You haven't seen a lot of these doubleheader games, to be honest with you, especially the split doubleheader. But I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, these guys have pretty much been the same in the clubhouse after a victory, after a loss, and they've had the same kind of individual, singular focus. So I don't think anything changes. I really don't.
What do you? I got to go back to the because just didn't have a chance to even talk about it. But Yelich and the Euchre bat. I mean, what did that mean to the guys in the locker room? To just kind of what the culture is and what this season means. I mean, what was the feel around that team whenever he hit 2 home runs using that Bob Euchre kind of commemorative bat?
I mean, I think it was a pretty cool moment for those guys. I think, everyone there was close to him, some more than others. Yelich had been there for so long, so he had a very close relationship. I think it was a special moment for him, no doubt. I think we're making a little too much of this whole Euchre magic thing. I mean, it's a great storyline. But listen, it's important to note that all this talk about luck and magic, this is a really damn good baseball team. And they're winning these games, on their own accord. And sometimes it kind of gets lost that all this crazy magical stuff is happening when at the end of the day, it's a ridiculously good baseball team.
So we're not seeing like an Angels in the outfield situation.
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm away from that as well. Drew, what do you think was the most impressive thing from the 14-game win streak? Was it in that Cincinnati series? Do you go back sooner from there? Do you go back all the way to like the last time they lost? They were playing the Cubs right during this. When you look back at that 14-game streak, that is going to be how 2025 gets remembered. I already said they don't really they don't raise banners for 14-game win streaks, but it's definitely something historic. It's Brewers history now. What do you think is a moment that everyone goes back and looks on during that stretch?
Well, that's the thing is, if that's what the takeaway is from this season, then this season went very badly at the end. You're hoping, and I'm pretty sure that everyone in that clubhouse is hoping that 14-game winning streak is kind of an afterthought when the book is finally written on this squad. They've got bigger aspirations. Now, going back to like what was the most impressive thing about it, I think it's the fact that every day it was somebody different, and that over the course of those 14 games, you basically had everyone on the roster contributing in one way or another at one time or another.
Yeah, for sure. Drew, I mean, do you, like, when you look at this Brewers team and, like, what you just said, I mean, they have to be considered at the moment, through the course of the season, like, as the most complete baseball team right now. I mean, they're you can't look at too many other teams, and they're still not the favorite to win the World Series, but, like, there are not too many. There are not other teams that you can say, man, I can depend on any given guy on any given night to show up and help this team win. I mean, would you say this is the most complete baseball team in the major leagues right now?
I don't know how you can't. I mean, let's face it, there are teams out there that have much better talent. The Dodgers probably have
just like star power,
even all of baseball. And their roster is laden with talent. But in terms of playing like a team right now and getting those contributions from all over, it's hard to find anyone that's been more productive as a full roster than the Brewers right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we talked about that, early in the show as well. And I kind of, went back into, Packers days and, win streaks and, consecutive, made field goal streaks, things like that. Like, what is, the reset and is a little bit of pressure now off of this team to go out there and just, focus on this Cubs game. You kind of get the weight of day in and day out, carrying the streak and doing all of that. Do you feel like they are going to just reset and come out guns blazing against this Cubs team just because now it's like, all right, we let one get away there against Cincinnati. We had a chance to win that one too. How do they reset against this Cubs team?
It's the same way that they've reset after every other loss and honestly after every victory. Again, it's beating it like a dead horse, but they come in every single day focused on the job at hand. I was talking to a friend this weekend. What's the difference in the clubhouse now between now and April? And really, there isn't. They had the same kind of mentality, the same approach when they were losing and getting their butts handed to them as they do now. It was just as simple as, well, we have a game today. Yesterday's over with. Tomorrow we'll deal with then. We have a game in front of us right now. So I think the resetting part is easy because that's what they've done every day, win or lose all season long.
All right, we got Drew Wagner, our Brewers clubhouse insider. He is in Chicago, the mean streets of Chicago, walking around. Be safe out there. Before we let you go, we were talking about Trey Hendrickson. I know you're a Bengals fan. What would you, if you were GM of the Bengals, what would you have to get to give up Trey Hendrickson right now?
Well, that's the problem, Mason, is the Bengals don't have a GM. And that's the first. That's the problem with the organization. It's Mike Brown, the owner. Like, I got excited the other day when I looked on Twitter and I saw Mike Brown was trending. For a brief second, I would never hope for anyone's demise, but I thought maybe the old man's finally gone. And it wasn't. It was just more of their shenanigans.
They find a structure that is actually, makes sense over there in Cincinnati.
Drew, did you bring down Craig Counsell a voucher for George Webb because he said he'd never seen it before? Did you do that as well?
I forgot. I was going to stop and get a stack of burgers and just sit there in the dugout eating them during his pregame thing.
That would have been amazing.
I mean, that was also like clown comment to say you've never, feel how you want about Craig Counsell. Other people feel stronger on this station. Obviously, you know that too, Drew. But to say you grew up in Milwaukee your whole life and you say you've never seen a George Webb before, like that's just false, Drew. That's just wrong. It's just a lie.
He's just a liar. That's all it is. He's just a liar. And like our guy David Go, the MVP of last year's Media versus Brewers softball game, he came out with the receipts, man.
Yep.
He found the story from 2018 where Counsell was raving about it. So Counsell is just full of it. As usual, what a shock.
Yeah, what a shock. No one's surprised. First team All-Humans, Craig Counsell did not make the list. He didn't make it, actually. So
a robot.
Drew, we'll talk again later today and then later again today as well, so enjoy it. We're going to be together quite some time. We'll catch up again later on for the leadoff show. All right, my man?
Sounds good, boys. Take care.
There he is.
Right.
Drew Wagner jumps off the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law Offices. One call. That's all. You saw that, right, Mason, where Craig Counsell had said he'd never, pretty much almost basically alluding to he's never even heard of George Webb. He's never even heard of
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, again, I didn't grow up in Wisconsin and didn't live in Milwaukee, but I know what George Webb was.
Yeah.
And, I'm definitely excited. And if I were him, I would go and get a burger because I'm not sure he'll see a 14 game win streak at any point. Even being there with a great team like the Chicago Cubs. So.
The Counsell had said, honestly, I've never seen a George Webb, referring to the restaurant, not the person, is what it says.
Not the person.
In there. And then David Go, he just said, commenting here from Adam McKelvey, who knew that we would make it this far, Brewers manager Craig Counsell said. And the biggest piece of stretch is going into this game would be George Webb's hamburgers. Literally quoted.
He's made comments about it.
Quoted it so hard right there and just caught red-handed. I remember the concept of free hamburgers going back so long.
Wow.
It's hard to believe that it's never happened since then. I guess it's a pretty good streak, but it's something for everybody to talk about for sure. And I mean, free hamburgers is free hamburgers, and all will be there. I mean, clown, total clown, Craig Counsell, what are you doing? I mean, it just doesn't even solve anything, Mason.
Yeah, well, it's just he just forgot that he ever was in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It's just it's dead to me. I've moved on. I just, I can't even remember. He literally still lives in Whitefish Bay.
Yes.
Obviously Mitch tells us that all the time.
Right.
So, it's you probably have driven by one before.
Absolute clown. And I'm actually a defender of him to some capacity. I just look like the nice guy whenever Sparky talks about him. That's really more or less what it is. But you
got to appreciate his time. I feel like you can't just erase the fact that he was here and just kind of throw shade at all things.
If someone
There's some
says
things that you can be disappointed about.
He's the biggest sports villain in Wisconsin sports history, I don't disagree from them. If they want to say that, I can totally understand why you might think he has some more traitor quality than Brett Favre does or whatever it goes from there. That I understand completely, but Now
for a long time, it was Longwell just because he said the comments about Applebee's whenever he was out, right? Like about Green Bay. And that was like petty in a sense because everyone took such offense to that. And it's like, Longwell was a great player and a great kicker for the Green Bay Packers. And
right.
It's like, but when you do something on the way out, people don't forget.
If I had a guy who stole my middle name, stole my points record, stole everything about me, stole the second most point. Who keeps track of the second most points to not make a Pro Bowl like Ryan Longwell does? He was he knew it right away. He's like, I know all these records that Mason has that he is second. Maybe
Longwell's the best though, so don't hate on Longwell. He's the man.
We'll get into some more talk about the Packers and Brewers all day today. As we said, there's a leadoff show, 2 leadoff shows today, one starting at noon, one starting at 6 o'clock today. I'll be with you for that. We'll be joined by Luis Olmos over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and Drew Wagner, of course, as well. Yesterday, however, the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, just said the most out-of-pocket thing possible about the MLB and expansion.
Just ridiculous.
And it sounds like it had to be planted. It had to be planted in there to say, hey, make sure that you ask this question to Commissioner Manfred. But how serious are these conversations, plus the Big Ten and expansion? No, not more teams, but more teams in the playoffs, because we want to give everyone a participation trophy.
That's what's happening now.
By the end of the year, we will be raising banners for college football playoff losses, when Tulane falls in the first round. We'll get to it next on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis today. Want to remind everyone that the Mason Crosby Show is also a podcast. You can find us anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Catch all the full episodes, listen by individual hour, or jump straight to the highlights. Just open up your favorite podcast app, search the Mason Crosby Show, hit the follow button so you get every minute of the show your way and on your time as well. YouTube.com/@thefan_Milwaukee. That's growing. That's looking great right now. We are expanding, if you will. And that seems to be a topic of conversation now with not just the Mason Crosby Show and the Fan Milwaukee, but now Major League Baseball possibly getting in on the action, Mason.
Well, I mean, it is the fifth segment of every show, and we end up diving into I feel like it's like our Moneyball segment, right? Like, it's just like we will talk about the business of sports.
Econ and ethics here.
And ethics.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Business ethics.
It's kind of like the puppy who lost his way.
Yes, it is.
That is Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred is the puppy who
Oh, is
loses
he the
his
puppy?
way.
Oh.
He only looked for like an hour. I mean,
He's our puppy. You got to get out there and you got to find that dog. Oh, that's so good.
Yesterday, during the Little League World Series game for baseball, which, like,
that's right. Yeah. What do you think of that? Do you like that?
Dumb. Who cares?
Dumb.
Like,
Stupid.
I mean, just play baseball. Like, you want to be the team. You want to go to Bristol. You want to go to the Field of Dreams.
Gosh, that would be so annoying.
Whatever it is. But, like, just the Little League World Series game, I don't know, means nothing to me. I don't think, like, this game has a little bit extra juice because of it or anything along those lines.
Is it surprising? Like, isn't it a little surprising how few? I feel like there's like not very many players actually that make it to the MLB from these Little League World Series.
I think
teams.
Cody. Well, first of all,
like it's not as many as you would think, right?
There are some names like Todd
Well, yeah,
Frazier. Todd Frazier's
sure,
like the
some.
poster child.
Sure.
Now he's doing coverage for it. Cody Bellinger, I know.
Yep.
Jason Varitek was the one back in the day.
Varitek's the one I remember. Yeah.
But like, I would assume that a lot of these guys, like, there's obviously the team that's winning a lot of the time, it seems like, is not an American team, right?
Yeah.
I would be very curious to see how many Little League World Series players on the Japan team play in the NPB. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in that baseball league as well.
I'm rooting for Aruba right now. That's
Yeah?
that's my team.
Aruba's your team?
Yeah.
I haven't really paid much attention to it since the Whitefish Bay team got eliminated in, like, the early stages. They didn't go to Williamsport, obviously, but I was keeping my tabs. But yesterday, Rob Manfred was asked a question that was so a plant. It was so a planted question. It has to be. Here it is on expansion
let's hear it.
in the MLB.
Expansion, realignment, expanded playoffs. I mean, can you see that down the road?
I can. I think that the first two topics are related in my mind. I think if we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign. I think we could save a lot of wear and tear on our players in terms of travel. And I think our postseason format would be even more appealing for, entities like ESPN, because you'd be playing up
nice
out of the East, out of the West, and that 10 o'clock time slot where we, sometimes get Boston, Anaheim, would be two West Coast teams, and that 10 o'clock slot that's a problem for us sometimes becomes a real opportunity for our West Coast audience. So I think, I think the owners realize that there's demand for Major League Baseball in a lot of great cities, and that we have an opportunity to do something good around that expansion process.
I mean, just first of all, what is the music they are playing
Yeah,
at the Little
it's
League World
cranking.
Series game? They were about to drop the craziest bass ever at the end of that Manfred comment. But he talks about expansion and realignment and how they're together. Obviously, that's a joint venture whenever you have that to go down. But it also makes me think that Like, could the Brewers be
It's
in
just
contention?
money. It's just viewership. You know that. Like,
Well,
it's just because he mentioned like the West Coast teams, and it's like where do they have the least amount of like viewed games and what time slots? And it is that time slot because it's a 10 o'clock East Coast game when Boston goes to Anaheim. Like, they probably just don't have as many people watching. So they want to get 2 West Coast teams playing in those time slots. So all that is finance, and that's what this segment is always about. It's sports business, and that's all I heard him saying was just like money.
Right. Yeah, ESPN would love to watch our games here.
But where are we expanding to? Tell me where.
I don't know
what other city is.
If they're gonna go west, there's 2 cities, right?
Okay.
If they're gonna go west, there's Portland,
Las Vegas.
Well, Vegas is getting the A's, right?
Yeah, so the A's are going there, so we already got that.
It's
okay.
Portland and it's Salt Lake City. That's it. And Salt Lake City is got a lot of buzz. I feel like they've put in some sort of like bid, I guess, earlier in this year or last year it was something along those lines where they are trying to be a part of a name. But that's if you're going to go west, right?
Portland and Salt Lake have also just added like women's soccer, and they are growing sports cities. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so those are the 2 teams that if they're going to go west. But I think that both Nashville and Charlotte should be getting teams before either of those 2 teams get a team as well in Major League Baseball. And I brought it up just because when he brings up realignment,
I have heard about Nashville. They're building a ton of infrastructure, some big facilities south of where I am, down at College Grove, Spring Station, that area, and they're building that out down there. So who knows? That could be a future spot.
They are, Tennessee's a massive baseball state between Vanderbilt and the University of Tennessee as well. Both are national perennial contenders in college baseball.
Yeah, and SEC baseball's huge.
The Sounds are, they have a great facility over there as well that already hosts, obviously, for Milwaukee. But when he brings up realignment, too, then I start thinking, like, could that affect the Brewers in any way? Because of how the central divisions are, right? And I imagine like it then transitions into more like Cincinnati is kind of far away for Milwaukee's stance when it comes to the Twins, the Tigers, the Cubs, right? The White Sox. Now
it almost doesn't make sense that they're not aligned in the same way that the NFL divisions are. That it's like, wouldn't you think that you would be playing the same same cities as you would in those things? I think those rivalries would be good, right? Because then it's like a consistent fan base, in each state, kind of hating the other ones, right? Like, you're just going to have that rivalry naturally built in there.
And I think that would be what, I don't know, if you're going to expand, like, you have to bring in 2 teams right away, right?
Well, then St. Louis and Nashville, like that, like group, that would make sense.
And then it goes to 32 because they're at 30 right now, so they would have 4 divisions of 4, I would assume, as opposed to...
So you think one East Coast, like one maybe Central or East Coast team and one West Coast team right away?
Well, again, if they're going to go west, they're going to go to Salt Lake. That's it.
That'd be the first. Yeah.
Portland is just in consideration, I guess, in my brain, not necessarily from any action, but Salt Lake has actually tried to take some action to get a Major League Baseball team in the future to come to Utah. I just don't know how they could take any priority, though, over Nashville and Charlotte before either of the 2, because you got 2 massive baseball states with Tennessee and with North Carolina, and I don't know how they would get a team before, and then it kind of feels like it doesn't really solve your issue at all, MLB, because you're just adding more East Coast and Central Zone teams and not any West Coast teams to help it out.
You got to do a West Coast, like just with his what he said, right?
Right.
If you want to get those TV, those games right, you have to add another team over there, just to make it make sense. I always kind of it's funny that I live down here in the Nashville area, but I kind of forget about it as far as they don't have because I think of the Sound, and it's like I think of some of the stuff, but I'm like, okay, they don't have a basketball team. They don't have a MLB team. Like this was Nashville was like not a sleepy town, but it was kind of like a forgotten town. Like it was like you went, honky tonks, you did the stuff on Broadway, but now it has grown here in the last 10, 15 years into like a mega sports and mega destination place. It's Nash Vegas. So
right. I was just going to say, kind of like what they've done with Vegas and all the other.
People want to come here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you want to come and see a sports. See the amount of revenue that would come from into the city if you add some of these major sports teams would be astronomical. Honestly, I don't know. They're going to have to do a lot of work. And this is a side note. I heard they're starting a tunnel system, like a train system underground. I think I heard the name Elon Musk, and they're involved. And they just started digging it in downtown, where it will go from downtown to the airport, and maybe do this big loop. So they're building out some infrastructure, which will help because the traffic is crazy down here, and that's always going to be the issue whenever you expand stuff like that. Can you handle the influx of people, on a weekend basis?
It's the Mason Crosby Show, talking about expansion in sports here, and we'll talk about the next topic here. I actually have a surprise one kind of for you as well, but going into the next one here. The Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petitti, I don't know which one it is at this point, but he actually is in support of some new models for the college football playoff that could expand the field to as many as 28 teams. Sources familiar with the discussion tell CBS Sports. The ideas were pitched internally among Big Ten athletic directors earlier this week and have yet to be socialized with the other FBS conferences. Now, the Big Ten, it says, has long supported a 16-team format with 4 automatic qualifiers for itself and the SEC, 2 automatic qualifiers for the Big 12 and the ACC, and then on top of it, there are also ideas in place for a 24-team playoff and a 28-team playoff.
Shut up.
I mean, how stupid. First of all, they messed this whole thing up by going from 4 to 12, right?
Yeah, what is going on?
It should have went to 8.
Yeah.
8 was fine. There was enough automatic qualifiers. You could get some at-large bids. Going to 12
last year was awful.
Was already stupid. And everyone by the end of it was like, okay, is this thing over yet? Like it was time to end the playoff, and now they're talking about a possibility where you could get 28 teams in there.
Seriously,
like what are we gonna do?
When does the playoffs start? I mean, does that start in mid or early November? Like when are they gonna start that?
I cannot support this until the Badgers make the playoffs in a 12-team playoff already, because I can't deal with the hardship and pain of not making the playoff year after year after year.
Well, you're going to have 8-win teams getting into the playoffs?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen here?
And what are they going to do? Are they going to provide an upset every 5 years? Maybe. But really, they're just going to go get their butts kicked in round 1 by whoever it is at the point. That's just bet Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame. You insert team name here, Ohio State, right?
Yeah. They're
just going to go pound this team that's, they're going to be the 1 seed, and they're going up against App State, who had a great year in the Sun Belt. Like, no, that's not what we're here to see.
When they just saw it last year, where it was like, okay, some of these teams, the automatic bids, they switched that because that was not okay. Like there were better teams that had to go on the road, and they just thumped some of the automatic bid teams, and so it's now it's just straight rank on all of that, which that is better. But if you add all these teams, it really just waters it down so much.
Yeah.
And again, then it just it takes away from the excitement and the energy that college football brings. That is different from the NFL. That is different from any other major sports league. You need that kind of excitement and that energy. You throw 24 teams out there, you're just like, okay, well, these first 6 games don't even matter. Like, it's just like now we're back into preseason games, and you're just hoping guys don't get hurt. And then you're watching backup quarterbacks for Alabama or Ohio State playing half the game because they're up 56-7. And it's like, that's just bad.
Like, on top of it, too, I don't know if it's necessarily a bigger focus, but I could see it from a fan base frustration. You're going to get schools who are now just trying to make the playoff. Right?
Yeah.
And now, like, don't worry about winning national championships. Like, let's get the playoff money. Let's maybe win a playoff game. We'll keep some hope so we can get the season tickets renewed next year because people are going to have some excitement. And it's going to form some level of complacency in college athletics.
So if the Badgers finish 13th next year, are you hoping for an expansion?
No, I hope it goes back down to 4. I really do.
Right.
Just
checking, just making sure that, like, if they barely miss
hungry.
out in 12, would you be like, oh man, like if they had expanded, we would have been in?
No, I would find some team that's in the top 12 that's not as good, and I would compare and contrast.
And just
that's
say that
how
we should have been over that team.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I would go and manage this. I'll admit, I would look at it emotionally for sure at that point, but I still just. Like, I am so insanely surprised that they would just do this after I feel like a lot of people didn't like the 12-team playoff last year. Like,
dude, we talked about it when it was going. I'm like, it's still going on.
Yes.
Like, please just end this now.
It should have been 8. 8
by
would
the
have been
time
the
national
perfect number.
championship, I'm like, I just can't watch college football anymore.
Yeah.
I was locked into the NFL playoffs. Like, you're just kind of, oh my gosh, like the national championships on Monday. Like, I had like literally forgotten that college football was still going on.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
that's
sense.
extreme, but it was like, it was just kind of like, all right, I'm done with this. Like, I've seen some good matchups. Like, it's kind of like Ohio State's gonna win this thing. They're gonna dominate. Like, let's kind of move on here. We know who the best team is. Like, again, that's why 16, 8 teams, maybe. I think 8 teams would have been a good number.
8,
like, you can get a good idea. But by the second game that Ohio State played, like, you're like, they're the best team.
Yeah,
they're gonna win this thing.
Yep.
Like, you don't need more ball to prove that. Like, the best team in college football, makes itself known after a game or two.
The last one I have for you here that I think, maybe you saw anything, but we didn't discuss it here. Have you seen the British ambassador and what he is saying right now, Mason? Have you seen this?
I don't follow. No, I don't follow the Brits. Only if it's unless it's on the pitch. Yeah.
Yep. Pip pip cheerio. I'm sure is how it started with this phrase.
That's how we said it with a cup of tea.
Yeah. But he is making a pitch to have the Super Bowl hosted in London. Your reaction to the Super Bowl in the UK, Mason Crosby?
I don't know. I mean, it might happen. It could happen.
But no,
I'm not for it. Not at all.
No, we're not.
I would hate
it.
that. Like, they just want the revenue. They just want the tax revenue. They want all the money that comes along with it. This is our Moneyball segment. So that's where my mind goes. It's just like, yes, of course they want the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But unless you have a team there, and like you are like paying into, and like you're part of the NFL profit deal. Like, you don't deserve a Super Bowl.
No, unless I don't even care if there's a team there. What? This is American football, okay? If
they build a stadium and they have a team there, I mean, that's part of the deal, right? Like,
gosh.
Like, you get into the Super Bowl conversation.
You know what's really lovely? London in February. That's what I've heard. I've heard England in February is great.
They played a game in New York.
And it was like the best weather day in New York in February ever. Like, they got super lucky with that, and they've played the games in domes, and I'm sure it's going to be a dome. It's kind of
messed up. Green Bay has like done so much to their stadium. They've basically built a new stadium over the years. Why don't they get a Super Bowl bid?
Well, I mean,
it's messed up.
Yeah,
why not?
Imagine that. Should London be getting a Super Bowl before the Green Bay does?
That's a great question.
No, they should not.
That's a great question.
Don't even say great question. It's a dumb comment. No.
I mean, if Green Bay ever gets a Super Bowl, then I think London deserves one as well.
Okay, no. Why don't we just have a 28-team Super Bowl? Why don't every team makes a Super Bowl at the end of the year?
Well, I mean, they're expanding the playoffs in the NFL already. Like, once they go to 18 games, how many teams will make the playoffs?
Let's put one in Salt
how many
Lake
teams?
Before there's even a team in Salt
They'll have
Lake.
16 teams in the playoffs at some point
Yeah, well,
in
let's
the
just
NFL.
have 16 Super Bowls. Let's just have every team play a Super Bowl. Everyone plays on January 31st, and then we'll just decide you could be the Super Bowl champion of the day.
Of that city.
Yeah.
It's just everyone plays in their own city.
Yeah, right.
You just play a game, and you are the Super Bowl champion of that day.
Bismarck, get your bid ready. Get your bid ready, Montana. Yeah, why not? We'll just have everyone. Canada. We'll have the CFL host the Super Bowl next year.
Exactly.
This stupid comment. No,
Well,
don't.
Nashville's going to have a Super Bowl here at some point with the new stadium they're building. So, I mean, that's going to be fun. We got to go to that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I will gladly mooch Super Bowl tickets off you. I have no problem doing that.
I'll get on that right away. Just start planning for that.
If it's in London, though, I won't.
Would go. I'd go to a London Super Bowl. That'd be sweet. Let's go.
Why? Why am I going? That's not the. No,
it's the World's game. We're trying to make it the World's game. Wow.
Oh my God.
Molly just turned off all the lights on me. How inconsiderate.
You got so bright.
Seriously.
On your face.
What's happening right now?
All right, we got to get to extra points. If it's talking about a London Super Bowl, I'm going to turn your mic off.
Just mute this man.
Yeah, it won't be able to happen. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today? It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Oh my gosh, it is my extra points. The conversation off air. Oh man, I'm super distracted now. But as we talked about the future Super Bowl in London, it just feels fitting to segue into the soccer world because the Premier League was back this weekend, and the Mason Crosby Show has a fantasy soccer league going on the Premier League app. I completely forgot that the draft was happening last night.
Did it happen yesterday?
Yeah, we all auto-drafted.
Did you see my team name? My team name is West Ham Sandwich.
The West Ham Sandwich. That felt, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Is Reese making fun of me in his team name?
No. It's funny that it is that. Wortz is a player on Liverpool. Yeah,
Okay. Well, his is spelled with an I, so it's different than me.
It's Wortz. He's not getting after you there.
I didn't know if he was or not. It would have been funny.
I think my auto draft went okay though. I think I feel pretty good about it. And I think it's fitting that we just auto drafted, just especially because you and Mitch have no clue what you're doing. So
Did I
it's
end
probably
up with Wayne Rooney? Is Wayne Rooney on my
Wayne
team?
Rooney is not on the team.
Is he not in the Premier League anymore? How old is Wayne Rooney?
Wayne Rooney is coaching soccer.
Really?
Now. Yes,
okay. Yeah. I would have thought he would have like an MLS trial run at the end. Didn't he do that?
He did. Oh, yeah. He did for sure. I think he coached maybe in the MLS for a moment. He coached at Burnley for a sec. I don't even know where. He's been all over. Let's just say I don't think he's a good coach because I think he's at Birmingham City now. Tom Brady.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Tom Brady's guy.
Tom Brady and Wayne Rooney. Birmingham City, is that in
Birmingham
your league?
City.
Are they above you, below you?
They're above. They're in the championship. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you got to get a better team than Tom Brady.
I'm working on it.
I'm
working on it. We're trying to build something great there. Walsall won this weekend, so no big deal. They're heading to the top. Awesome weekend. Great first show here on Monday. I don't have the case of the Mondays. I'm feeling pretty good. I can't wait to go to a Super Bowl in London, so keep that on your calendars.
Clown.
It's happening at some point, and I'm gonna push it now just because I know Tommy does not want it so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you realize that you sent us the reenactment of blowing everything up on July 4th. You know why you did that? You did not do that.
So we don't have to go back to London.
There's no Super Bowls happening.
It's not allowed.
Not on American soil. That's not what this is. American football. They call it American football everywhere else. No Super Bowls in London.
Okay, well, I mean, we're playing there, multiple times. We are playing a lot of games there. So
you know what?
It's going to happen. You better get your mind right.
And they get the Jaguars.
Yeah, if the Jaguars ever win a Super Bowl, then maybe a Super Bowl will go to London at some point.
Okay, I could be intrigued on this now. I could be intrigued on that.
That's what makes it happen.
If the Jaguars win the Super Bowl, we can have the Super Bowl in London.
Okay,
sure.
All right. There it goes.
Mace, you ready to do it? Wrap things up here? We all good to go then?
Yep, good stuff. Really appreciate everybody listening. Check us out on YouTube. Go to the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts, and you can listen to all the great stuff we had today. And catch us again tomorrow. We'll be back here at 9 a.m.
It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Oh, yeah.
I was so